Hey merfolk, Mermaid Jenna here. It is officially the new year, so happy new year to everybody. I wanted to jump on and do a quick video because I am officially halfway through my term as an ambassador. And I was kind of thinking about like what would be helpful, or at least what I would think would be helpful to somebody who wouldn't be an ambassador. In terms of what I think of the tails. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go through the 6 tails that they've sent me so far, and I'm going to tell you guys whether or not I would buy them or not. It will obviously be a little bit different because I actually do own them, and I think there's definitely some tails that if I just saw a picture of it I probably wouldn't buy it, but now that I own it I definitely would say that I would buy it. But before I get started, I kind of want to just give you guys background of like how I buy tails from FinFun. So one of the reasons that I love FinFun so much is because they have so many different tails. They come out with so many different tails all the time. And they're relatively reasonably priced, so you can change your scales many times and it's not going to break your bank like it would be with other tail companies of like fancier ones. So that's part of the reason why I've always stuck with FinFun rather than going really much higher to like more professional looking tails because of that. That being said, I am very analytical when it comes to which tails that I want to purchase. I don't believe I've ever actually purchased a tail in the month it was released. I will always wait. Even if I completely fall in love with a tail right when it comes out, I'll usually wait a couple of months, see if I still really love it. And if I do, then I will put it on my kind of mental wish list. And I will probably keep somewhere between like 5 to 15 tails on that wish list at any given time, and then I can just keep an eye out for sales. So definitely that's something that I would recommend doing because if you have your, I totally get if you have your heart set on like one particular tail, go for it. But if you have a bunch that you like, but you know, not really sure exactly what, just keep a list of them, keep checking for sales, because you can get, you could get tails for $20, $25, $30 if you are paying attention and you're flexible with ones that you want. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the very first tail that they sent me, and I'm not going to talk a whole lot about each like design of the tail because I already did, so if you want to go watch my unboxing videos for each of them, you can. But this is the saltwater taffy tail. This was the June tail of the month for 2019. Which saying that sounds weird now that it's 2020, but it was the first one that they were going to send us. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed when I first saw the pictures because there were so many tails that they released last year that I really, really fell in love with. And it seemed to me like they were going with more darker palettes and more like realistic looking tails. I was a little bit bummed just because I felt like from the pictures it was a lot of colors. I generally don't favor tails that have a lot of colors, and especially colors with like all that are on opposite sides of the palette. But one of the things that I've really fallen in love with about this tail is the scale pattern, because it's got the scalloped shell pattern. I've grown to like this tail a lot, but I definitely, if I had only seen a picture of it, I would definitely say that it would not be something that I would put on my wish list. Okay, so for the July tail of the month in 2019, I got really excited when they came out with purple sneak peeks because I am such a sucker for purple tails. And so we have Moon Dive, which is purple and blue. It's designed to look like kind of like what a waterfall looks like at night. Again, I'm not going to go into super details on it, but I love this tail. I've loved it, you know, from the get-go, from the first sneak peeks and from the pictures. So I would say 100% it's definitely one that I would put on my wish list. Again, probably not one that I would just jump on immediately and pay full price for, but I don't think I've ever done that with a tail. But definitely would put it on my wish list and would be eagerly awaiting a sale to purchase it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is August. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this one is August. This is Bronze Ruby. When I realized from the sneak peeks that we were getting another bronzed series tail, I was a little bit unsure at first because of the 2 tails that they've had before, Bronzed Emerald and Bronzed Sapphire. Not a huge fan of either of those, actually. I don't think the bronze and the blue go very well together personally, so I definitely wouldn't get that one. I loved the emerald, like, just as a tail, but I saw some videos of it underwater, and the green definitely disappears, and so I wasn't kind of a huge fan of it. But when I realized that we were going to get a red and bronze or gold tail, I was actually really excited. And so I think this one is the prettiest out of the three of them. My college also has maroon and gold as their colors. I have yet to do a college-themed photo shoot, but I definitely want to soon. So I would say for sure this one, more so than the other bronzed series tails, are definitely one. It's definitely one that I would put on my list. Okay, so next we go to September, which is Neon Sea. Not gonna lie, was not a huge fan of this one either when it first came out. I think one of the things that I noticed about it is that there's not really defined scale patterns or a defined fluke pattern, which is generally something that I will steer away from because I like more realistic looking tails. That being said, once I got it, something I definitely did not expect was how beautiful it looks underwater. It really, really looks like a parrotfish. I think it looks better far away than it does up close, if that makes sense. Like, it looks better as a whole, just in my personal opinion. If I had just seen a picture of it, I don't think I would put it on my wish list. You know, definitely now that I actually own it, I do really like it, but probably it would not end up on my wish list if I was not an ambassador. Okay, so now we come to October, which is the one I kind of have the most to say about. So when they first told us that we were going to have, or they were going to have a tail that had two different sides, or two different colors, I was thinking it was going to be one of those things that was like more cool in theory than in execution, because I think like something that I was like concerned about, and I definitely like know that other people were concerned about this too, is that like if you were going to have two different colors on two different sides of a tail, that it was going to look very like just like stark, and like the contrast was going to be kind of awkward, and it just like wasn't going to blend as well as it did. However, they definitely proved me wrong. So hip flip is really neat because it's got, again, it's got the blue and purple on one side, and it's got the green and the yellow on the other. But definitely something that makes this tail for me are the seams, because if you can see right here, it definitely blends together really well, and it doesn't create, it's not, you know, an awkward transition. I think like I may have thought it was, and so I definitely think this one actually turned out better in execution than it did in theory, which was cool. I don't think I also mentioned this in my unboxing video because I haven't swam in it yet, obviously, but something that I found really, really neat, and I totally don't know if they were going for this at all, but if you wear it with the green side facing front, and you're swimming in it, then when you're swimming, like, so from the surface you see purple, and if you're looking underneath you see the green, because it's on like the front of your legs. And it actually reminds me a lot of how a lot of fish camouflage. So there'll be fish that have darker tops and lighter underbellies, because if there's a predator coming from above, they look down, the dark scales on the top of the fish are going to blend in with the bottom of the ocean on the floor, and then vice versa. So if there's a predator swimming underneath the fish, they're going to look up, they're going to see the bright light and the lighter colored water towards the surface, and then they're also going to look up and see the lighter colors of the fish. So I think that's really neat. It's not as much of a realistic tail. I think they really just picked the colors because they were kind of Halloween themed because it was an October tail, but I think that's a really nice touch. So definitely something, even before I knew that really, I think I probably would not have taken a chance on it right away. But I know a lot of people that bought this tail and really have loved it, and I think seeing pictures or videos of it, especially because me, like being an analytical person, I totally would have gone and looked at pictures and videos, and I think I definitely would have eventually, if not right away, put this one on my wish list. Alright, so we're almost done. Now that brings us to November. November is also one of the tails that I was not a huge fan of right away, which was Seaglass. I actually initially really loved the scales on the body of it. I thought they were defined but kind of unique as well. I really was not a fan of the fluke initially, partially because I think it just deviates a little bit from what you kind of expect a mermaid tail to look like necessarily. I also generally like the tails that are either the colors are more muted, they're darker, or again, this one has, like, because it's got the red and the pink and the blue, it's completely different sides of the color palette, so it's definitely not something that would have drawn my attention right away. Really, every single tail has looked so much prettier in person than it has on the pictures, and I think the pictures really never do it justice. So I definitely would, if you're like debating taking a chance on a tail that you're not sure about, like, I totally would say go for it, because there's really none of these tails that I have ever like gotten physically and like not liked. It was just more like, oh, I see the picture of it and I'm not a huge fan, but then I would get it and I'd be like, oh my gosh, okay, I totally see where they were going with it. But if I had just seen the picture, I think even if I had seen other pictures and videos, I probably would say no on this. Okay, so that brings us to December. This is the tail that we just got. This one was a unique situation, as in it was already on my wish list. So it was Dragonfly, which is the tail that they re-released for December. So it's one of the first limited editions ones that they came out with. They haven't sold it in a while, but they did relaunch it for December. I think because they were focusing so much on the tail design contest for the Diamond Frost tail, which is the January tail of the month now, which is super cool. But this one's always been on my wish list. I think it's beautiful. I think it, the colors were different, but very similar. You've got all the cool colors together. I think it goes really well. I love the fluke of it. So it's always been on my wish list. So I think if they relaunched it, it definitely would get on my wish list again. So yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. It went pretty quick. But so just to recap, the tails that I definitely would put on my wish list were Moondive, Bronze Ruby, and Dragonfly for sure. Probably Hip Flip at some point, even though maybe not right away. Ones that probably would not end up on my wish list were Saltwater Taffy, Neon Sea, and Seaglass. And you'll kind of notice there's sort of a pattern with that. And I don't think that those are, it's not that they're not pretty tails, because I do love them. But they're just not really like my personal style. So they're definitely not ones that I would go to first if I had a choice of all the amazing tails that FinFun comes out with. So let me know in the comments below what your wish list looks like. What's the tail that's top of your wish list right now? Let me know what out of these tails, if you've purchased any of them, what you think of them, or if you just have them on your wish list, which ones you think that you might want to buy. So this is it. I'm halfway officially through my ambassador term. We actually don't know what tail we're getting yet for the January tail of the month. We were supposed to get the Diamond Frost, the tail design contest winner, but because they're having to make them in-house, it's taking them a lot longer. So if you were able to get your hands on a pre-order, you are a lucky mer. So we are not going to be getting those actually, so we don't know exactly what our tail will be for January, so it'll be a surprise, so stay tuned. But we've got 6 more tails coming before our term is up in June, so so sad. It's gonna be over before I know it, but I'm excited to start thinking about passing the torch on to somebody new, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, I think I'm rambling at this point, so everybody have a happy new year.